Pepe, Sue, and I are in the South Korean province of Gangwon. We'd had our fill of K-pop and the Winter Olympics, and now we wanted to discover what Korea really is behind the industrious stage management.
We went to Waljongsa Temple, a Buddhist shrine that presides over a forested mountain. The temple houses a museum with artifacts from the ancient Goryeo dynasty, including a 9-story pagoda and a seated Buddha figure in stone.
After pondering Korean history and spirituality, you can take a break for retail therapy at the gift shop. Here, seriousness gives way to a cuteness overload. It's a putter for midgets. I could hit you with it.
No, I think we already have it.
She just started hitting my back.
From the temple, we walked through a picturesque fir tree forest straight out of fairy tales. Except that there was nothing scary about this forest, which seemed to have been art-directed and designed for cinematic walks.
I like forests.
Okay.
I read a lot of fairy tales when I was a kid. And everything happens in the forest, right? So when you're a kid, you think there's wolves there. And then later when I grew up, I read some more. These fairy tales are really to teach kids how to behave. Like, if you meet a wolf in the forest, run. Don't make conversation with them. Diba? From Waljongsa Temple and the fir tree forest, we drove to Ojukon House, one of the oldest wooden residences in Korea. It was the home of the formidable Shin Saimdang and her son Yul Gok, one of the most important scholars and politicians in the country's history.
Outside the Ojukon House Museum, Jessica and I took a break to make sense of our day so far.
The people on the money?
Mrs. 50,000 and Mr. 5,000.
Yes, we are at the shrine commemorating the lives of very important Koreans. There is the guy who in the 17th century introduced Confucian principles. And then he was a middle-class guy, but by dint of hard work and his intellectual abilities, he effected changes in society. And then his mom...
Yeah.
His mom is held up as a model woman because whereas women, used to stay at home and look after the kids, she stayed at home, looked after the kids, but she also produced art. She also had a career, such as it was in the 17th century.
And she had perfect skin.
Yes.
They have to look great as well.
Yes. So they have very, very high standards. After all that walking and exploring, we were famished. So our guide Heather took us to the Gangneung Central Market. In the guise of research, we tried the different dishes and snacks consumed in typical Korean homes. A writer once said, "Tell me what you eat and I'll tell you what you are." That afternoon, we were chicken, noodles, pork, and red bean buns. What's Polak?
Of course, small bites of street food did not meet our criteria for a real meal. So our next stop was a sit-down lunch featuring all the different ways that Koreans cook a local fish known as polak.
Polak is more protein than meat. But the protein in there also good for detoxification also. So especially hangover after people have drunk a lot. You know, lots of Korean local people, they like to drink this one because there's a polite meat inside.
This is
You see, when there's a color is yellow, right?
Is it also good for skin?
Yes, because of lots of protein also.
You're our health consultant. We'd explored Gangwon, but we weren't ready to leave South Korea just yet. As we headed back to Seoul, we wondered, is there another face of the capital that we haven't seen? That's up next on Trippies.